Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Hot Literati. Hot Literati is a collective of hot, cool, well read people. My name's Halo. I'm happy you're here. The goal of Hot Literati is, as always, to make you as brilliant, happy, beautiful, brilliant, intelligent as possible. And lately, we've launched a line of products, of guided journals that are so much better for your brain than just passively consuming content, even though we do love it when you listen to our podcast and engage with our content because you make this brand what it is. Today, I'm really excited to have this episode with Kaylin, who is a super cool artist, dancer that I met at an event we hosted here in New York last year, maybe a couple of years ago at this point. And we talk about dance, we talk about growing up in New York, her time going to college in LA, and she's just great and so knowledgeable and interesting, and I'm really excited for this episode. Head over to hotliterati.com if you're ready to take that beautiful brain of yours and apply it to a life that you're really excited about. And yeah, happy you're here.
Hi, I'm Kaylin. I'm a dancer, choreographer, artist based in New York City. I also work a lot with film scoring, dance scoring, and some projection mapping. So that's my deal. And I've been involved with Hot Literati for about a year, um, dating back to some of the earlier events last year. And Halo and we collaborated on a Valentine's Day event that was super fun. Yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you came originally to the
to
everyone dressed as Mark Zuckerberg. And you had
yes,
like a very chic take on it. I was like, wow.
thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yeah, my cropped Harvard shirt. Yeah, that was so fun. We did do what is the film? Social Network, which is one of my
Yeah,
favorite films to
remake
watch.
coming
Mhm.
soon. Yeah, we'll do. I need to recap all the events we had somewhere because we've done some like insane stuff, and I don't think people
Yeah,
know. And then
yeah.
we're gonna do like some this year, not as many, but like a handful of like really special ones this year. So I'm excited. Yay! Okay, so tell me about yourself. Where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl. Um, and I did a bunch of dancing in New Jersey for a very long time. And then I started becoming a commuter at the ripe age of 10 into New York City for further dance training. So I was a very early transplant out the womb in a sense. Um, and then went to LA for college. I went to USC, super fun. But yeah, I came back ultimately to the East Coast and have been loving it.
Why did you start dancing for the first time? Like, do you remember what got you into it?
That's a great question. Well, I mean, like a lot of dancers, I started as a baby. Like I started at like 2 years old or something, three maybe. And I've asked my mom what made her make that decision. To which I got a very honest answer, that she just wanted, like every mom wants to see her daughter as a pretty princess, and you want to see your kid like on a stage with pigtails and makeup and a tutu and the cute little shoes. And then I just so happened to be so awesome at it, and I been stuck with it for a very long time.
What styles did you originally train in?
I studied ballet and tap to start. Did ballet and tap mainly for a very long time, probably the first like decade or so, really. And then started to branch out into contemporary dance, which is sort of like, and like lyrical, which is sort of the style that you see on like Dance Moms. I think Dance Moms really popularized that kind of dramatic, interpretive dance that you do to like pop music and stuff. So did a lot of that, branched out even more into sort of acrobatics, um, which led me into doing like cheerleading and stuff, some tumbling. So that was also kind of a big part of my training. And then yeah, in college I'd say I focused mostly on like modern dance, which is the style that you see with some New York based companies like Alvin Ailey. I'd say that's or Complexions ballet dance company. That's kind of my lane. Yeah.
What else did you study at USC?
Yeah, it's cool. At USC, they don't have it's not, the program isn't set up where you're studying just a single style. Definitely some people have their preferences and you can curate your schedule a bit if you're like predominantly a break dancer or you know that you want to be a ballerina. Um, but for my schedule, I wanted to be pretty well rounded. So I was doing ballet, I was doing like African dance, I was doing modern, um, but mostly probably ballet.
That's cool. Like, what was your experience like at USC? Like moving from east to west? How did you like it? What was the culture like?
Great question. I didn't love it that much. I didn't love it, which is why I think I made the decision ultimately to come back. There were definitely beautiful parts about being in LA. Like I had a great time in college. I look back on my college experience very fondly. I definitely made like the friends that I'll have for life. Everyone was so intelligent. Everyone was super talented. Um, but I think I wasn't ready for such a slow like pace of life. I think that the general just like things about LA that I'd heard as stereotypes for a very long time, I was confident that they'd be disproven once I got there, and they kind of weren't for me. Like I very much so left LA with the same concept of it that I think people generally have when they're growing up. And I was like, oh, like people are really fake and the people are, moving really slowly. Obviously, I don't think that's true, the fake comment. Like I don't think that's true for native Los Angelinos, but being at USC, like I was with, other transplants to LA. I was at a PWI for the first time. That's another part of it. Like I didn't go to a predominantly white school growing up. I was always in black dance schools and had black teachers, and yeah, I was very blessed in that way. But then I was suddenly in an environment where I really truly felt like a minority for the first time, and having to cope with that in adulthood was very strange. And I also couldn't really talk to other black students about it because most black students there had already had the experience of going to PWI for most of their life. So it was just very weird. And I got really homesick and came back. Yeah.
That's wow. Two things. One, Los
Mm-hmm.
Angelina. Part of me wants to like live there for a year just so I can be called the Los Angelina. That's so cute. Two, it's so interesting because we've kind of had like the inverse of experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Where I grew up in PWIs, I did ballet for 15 years, and I was the only black person in my studio the entire time.
Yeah.
And then when I came to New York for the first time, I did an intensive with Dance Theater of Harlem, and I was like, oh my gosh! And my world, like my mind, just it was like the craziest experience to all of a sudden be in a room where everyone did look like me, and I was like, and then when I went back, it was just such a like a weird adjustment to be the only one again. And I feel that way now, like living in New York and like going back to the Midwest. Like I love the Midwest, but every time I go back, I'm like I have all these like resurfaced memories from being a kid and like not being the beauty standard or like feeling different and like
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it's like a crazy. So we're kind of like subverted.
Yeah.
Can't imagine having that experience for the first time as an adult. That's so interesting. Like, in what ways did it show up for you normally, but then also like in dance?
I think just socially, it was just strange to walk around. Like every day kind of felt like the Truman Show, which is something that I said a few times, like while I was there, and when people ask me about my time in LA. USC campus also doesn't help with this because it's such a beautiful campus. It's kind of built like Epcot, and it just felt like a stage a lot of the time, a lot of the times. So I just had trouble really orienting myself and feeling the sort of natural grittiness and realness that you kind of get when you're walking around in New York City. Just, the passive encounters with people, brushing shoulders with people. I felt like I just didn't have that for a few years. And then in dance, it kind of shows up where people definitely had, I think, a bit more of a standard where ballet was the central part of their training, and projected that onto other people, where like ballet should be the standard for all dancing and for your ability as a dancer, and it even extended into morality. Honestly, sometimes a lot of dancers feel like if if you don't take your ballet training seriously, you are not disciplined, or you are not, a hardworking person, or just it's other deeper themes that are really rooted in white supremacy, and were things that I unpacked at a very young age, thanks to the sorts of dance teachers that I had, that I knew that someone could be the best dancer in the world, but they're, a capoeira dancer, or they're, bachata, or they're hip hop or something. And ballet is just not the crux of all dance, so it definitely showed up there, where like if you were not someone who was taking your ballet training as the pinnacle of your success, then there would be sort of, you know, comments here and there about, questioning whether how seriously you're really taking this.
That's crazy because yeah, it's like oh my gosh, I think I like loved my experience. I think ballet in general is like insane and like has a lot of ups and downs. And like I'm really grateful for the experience that I had. But yeah, that's a lot of like the like verbiage of ballet is like this is your everything. Like you don't have
Yeah,
life outside of this. Like
yeah,
and yeah, the whole thing discipline. I always say ballet was like my first heartbreak because I felt like it was this art form that I just like knew I would never do professionally, no matter
yeah,
how much I loved it. Misty Copeland, I think, seeing her like she's done so much, and now
mhm,
NYC has a principal, which is good, but I think that's like a deeper conversation too. Is like the roots of the art form in general, and like
yeah.
yeah,
And
um,
I have a question for you, which is like, what age do you feel like you first started to see that representation? Because you mentioned Dance Theater of Harlem, but were there any instances before that where you felt like you saw yourself in ballet?
Yeah, my mom's not my dad's way, and my mom was like really good about trying to like find that representation for me. So as soon as she discovered who like Misty Copeland was, she like got me the book. She drove me to Kansas City when I was maybe 11 to see Alvin Ailey and Lauren Anderson, who
Mm,
was principal with was it which ballets like
was
Hypnosis?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't. I know she worked with Dance Theater of Harlem for a while.
Hmm.
Just a sec.
She came I think to our studio maybe for the Nutcracker because we'd always have guest artists and I
Mhm.
think she performed, but the best representation I really had for ballet was a friend of mine, Kia Duggins, who was like the first black ballerina I think I ever saw, but just like in our Nutcracker, she was like new job.
Mm,
I was like little and I was like oh my gosh, like, and
yeah.
she was like, our moms are friends, so then we became friends too. It sounds like you've always had this like diverse appreciation for all dance forms instead of like rooting ballet at the center of a practice, which sounds like very healthy to do. So I guess looking like now and looking forward, like what sort of projects are you working on? Where do you want to take your career? Like how have things been for you post grad?
I think definitely. Oh, also Lauren Anderson was with the Houston Ballet, so Southern Belle. But I think the value of diversifying my dance vernacular that was sort of instilled in me growing up definitely translated into the type of work that I'm doing now, because by the time that I hit college, I know I was past the point of having to do that sort of unpacking, or consciously trying to center diversifying my styles, which was the case for a lot of people that were in my cohort, especially like in the wake of 2020 sort of racial reckoning that we were having in the whole country, and in this university trying to center DEI. There was an effort to try and push students to value diversity in dance, and I think I was already kind of past that point, So for me, the way that I interpreted it in my adulthood was to diversify with other mediums, and to do more like cross genre collaborations, and to be inspired by other mediums, other kinds of artists, and not just and literally just decenter dance as a whole, basically. So for me, that looked like doing collaborations with animators, doing collaborations with film artists, picking up a camera for the first time and really trying to make my own music videos and dance films, and seeing myself as an artist broadly instead of like a dancer first, or just a ballerina first. So that's been fun, and moving forward, I'd love to do more collaborations like that, especially with animators. Those have been some of my favorite projects, honestly, have been doing motion capture projects with people, which is when they put sort of the little nodes all over your body, and you're in a studio that's specifically designed for motion capture, and then you see all your movements to the T show up on a screen, and they can put kind of any avatar over your movements, which is how they made like the Avatar movies. And there's even a cool thing with the new Little Mermaid movie that was made with Halle Bailey, with all the little fish that are kind of swimming around her. There's like a dance sequence with all the fish and other sea creatures on the ocean floor, and all those people are actually the Alvin Ailey Dance Company, and they recorded it in motion capture. Yeah, and they have these little nodes all over it. And yeah, I've seen some of the behind the scenes of it. It's really cool. But yeah, I'd love to do more work like that. I'd love to do more scoring for dance and do some composition for my own choreography and other choreographers. If any of you are listening, I'd love to score your dance. And yeah, just try and see like how many other mediums I can try and pick up and collaborate with. I don't think I've done anything with like a painter, for example. I've had some ideas with some painter friends of mine to do sort of side by side, like they're painting and maybe their brush is mic'd up, and I'm dancing to the sound of the brush strokes or something like that. Yeah, just finding like really creative, out of the box ways to do some cross genre, interdisciplinary collaboration.
Yeah, it's so funny that you say that about painting because my mom is a beautiful dancer and she like yeah has like a wider range of styles than I do. Like she does a lot of like Latin styles, but then she does like some choreography. Like when I would do pageant, she would choreograph a lot of my
Really?
routines. She had an event last night where one of her like dancers she choreographed something with like a painter and a dancer.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, I didn't even know she was doing it, and I was on the phone with my dad. Like she like brought it up in passing, and I was like, oh, and then my
Mhm.
dad was explaining. I was like, oh wow,
Like it's just a side quest.
yeah, yeah,
That's
no,
amazing.
she's the best. And yeah, I think about that a lot. How like so many of the best projects are like they are interdisciplinary. Like I think it's easy to get caught in like, oh no, I'm only gonna do this because this is my medium. But like film, I think about this a lot. Is like when you look at the history of film and animation, film arose out of like moving pictures, like photography, and then like film all of a sudden, and like animated films are a combination of like animation, like moving pictures and things. So I think like it's so easy to pigeonhole a like lane or a genre into like this is what it is, but things are sort of always like evolving and changing. And I think what you say about technology is interesting too, because I think there's a narrative right now of like tech versus art with like what's happening in Hollywood a little bit. I think which
Hmm.
rights to your own likeness are very important, and like those should never be taken. But I'm interested to see how like scrappier artists, like young artists without a lot of access, like use these things to make like incredible work. Like I
Yeah.
remember beyond motion capture, do you like integrated any forms of like technology into your work?
Yeah, I think, well, projection mapping, using projectors to play with light in a fun way for dance has been a practice for a very long time.
Hmm.
Um, I think I'm part of a lineage of people who are trying to use like generative coding and these sorts of things to m- make interesting things using movement. Um, there's a bunch of artists that I'm blanking on their names right now, or actually one of them is I think Misk Soul is a big one on Instagram. Yeah, there's people who are using Touch Designer and using these other softwares that basically do like generative animation and like live input on music or movement to create these really beautiful futuristic atmospheres. So definitely projection is one that I plan to continue to use to shape just like the environment of where I am, or to do kind of installation work. I did like dabble in college with trying to work with AI for some larger projects of mine, and this was like when ChatGPT was very new. And yeah, at the time I was really excited about that technology. I know that there's like way more ethical conversations around it being used with art, and I find that it hasn't that conversation hasn't really translated well into the dance space because so much of it is tangible and is physical, and difficult to replicate, frankly. But yeah, I think that we should continue to have those sorts of ethical conversations around art, especially when it comes. I think visual artists are the most at risk, um, and painters and artists who post like their commission work and all of that, as well as 3D artists, animators. I think they are, frankly, the most at risk, and I do think there needs to be a level of like class consciousness or artist consciousness, I guess, where we come together to figure out how we're gonna protect the artist whose work is being, fed without their knowledge, or the likeness of their art is being, being used to train these models without their knowledge. Yeah, I'm not sure if I answered the question there. I went on a ethical tangent, but
Yeah, no, I think it's like a good thing to bring up, and it is really important because it's like this is something that kind of blew my mind. Like when I was at this museum in London, I'm blanking on the name, but it's
mm,
like kind of like a warehouse with just a bunch of stuff, like
mm.
furniture, like statues. They had some of like David Bowie's old outfits,
Oh, I want
and
to know what museum this is.
oh
This
my
sounds
gosh, I
beautiful.
have it written down because a friend like told me to go, and that's why I went. And
Mm.
but the thing that cracked me up was there was this like bust, and I was reading about it, and it was like this guy that was like copying this other guy's work to make like a bust, like a really intricate sculpture. And that's the thing is like replicating someone else's work. It's like the effort to do it now because of that is like minimal. Whereas back then, like if you wanted to like be what's it called, replicate like a forge. If you wanted to be a
Yeah,
you had to spend like time. You had to like study
true.
them. So it's like I think where I kind of land is like I don't know, it's always important to value like human input and human effort. And I've had this curiosity lately, like I really want to be able to support like the work of my friends and like when I meet people
Right.
in the real world and like their artists, like I want to like find their work, like watch things they've been in, look at like things that they've done. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of this comes down to like whether or not you value like the person and like human input, or for output, like how much you enjoy like doing your craft instead of like trying to get something else to do it for you. You know? But yeah, dance. I think like I don't want to watch a robot dance someday. I want to watch
No, yeah.
people
I don't think anyone wants that. Like I think we're safe. I think we're safe for now.
dance. I feel good. I feel good.
Yeah.
I want to throw out some, yeah, just like questions at the end. Like one answer, nothing
Okay.
crazy. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, what's your favorite book?
Uh Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari.
What's your favorite film?
Uh uh Symbiopsychotoxiplasm by what's it?
Oh my gosh, wow. What is your favorite song
Oh my god, that's impossible.
right
That's
now?
impossible. Uh um right now I've been listening to Smurs a lot. This duo out of yeah. You got time and I got money.
Mm,
That's a cute little pop.
okay, cool. And then some of the people, I need to like look at the analytics again recently, but there are a lot of like people in college, like younger people, I think,
Mhm.
who listen to this. Do you have any advice for them? Like a piece of good advice?
A piece of good advice. I'd say try everything. I think that's yeah. Try. Let me roll. Let me take that back. Don't try everything. Okay. Don't say yes to everything, but definitely push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Talk to people who you know you wouldn't normally talk to. Talk to people. Talk to people. Talk to people. Talk to people. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your professors. Just talk a lot to everyone who passes you on the street. If you see someone with a dog, pet their dog, talk to people. Yeah. And say yes to conversation. Say yes to all conversation. I'll say that.
Beautiful. Is there anything you wanted to talk about that you didn't get to mention?
Let me see. No, not really, but I am really excited for this year. I'm excited to see what events you're going to be coming up with. And thank you so much for having me on this podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for
I'm
joining.
excited to
And
see
then
what happens.
last question, where can people find like some of your work if they want to watch it, support you in any
Yeah.
way?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Kaylin. I'm on Substack also as Hunter, Huntyr. And I'm also on Spotify, where you can find some of my scoring as well as some of my guitar music. Also as Hunter on Spotify. Yeah.
Awesome.